Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday. Sarathon TED Talk. I am Sarah of Expat in Croatia, and this is 5 Question Friday. Every Friday at 5 o'clock Croatia time, answer 5 questions from people who have sent them in on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, expatinCroatia.com, our consulting sessions, and people who scream them out at an open mic night. Welcome. Hi. I'm in London. I am in Hyde Park. It is super mega hot, which is really not like London. I was expecting to get a little bit of a cool off from the brutal summer heat that we're already experiencing down in Dalmatia. But no, it is 30 today. For the Fahrenheit folks, it is 85. But it's really a beautiful day. So now found the shade of a tree with a nice cool breeze here in Hyde Park. And super happy to be here. So yeah, I got here yesterday. Oh, that's kind of not a nice thing to say to start off, but all right, whatever. Oh, hi, Kathy. So welcome, everybody. So I just have one thing to say, and then we're going to get into the questions today. I have a very big announcement to share with you, and that's going to come next Friday. It's not going to be today. It'll be next Friday's episode, so June 19th. June 19th? What's today? Today's the 13th. So is it the 20th then? Whatever. Next Friday. Tune in and you will hear the very, very big announcement that we are planning to share with you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the questions, all right? So this first one is an anonymous question that came on one of the consulting calls that I had. Are there any comedy clubs in English in Zagreb? I had a consulting call with a comedian, which was a first, and this is what she wanted to know because she wants to be able to perform comedy in English in Croatia. So before COVID, English language stand-up in Zagreb was mostly limited to foreign acts in like really large venues like Eddie Izzard or Dylan Moran, Kino SC, and Cenoteka. In the past 5 years, however, the scene has expanded and local comedians are now performing material in English and events are held for foreigners more regularly. So, for example, Crni Mačak, which means black cat, hosts curated stand-up nights in English, while Grey Cafe Bar offers free English language open mics. Studio Smijeha and Line-Up Comedy remain the country's longest-running collectives, but English shows are now thriving in bars. So big-name acts still tend to appear in theaters like Lisinski. So I've got a list here of upcoming events that I'm going to quickly run off to you. So Crni Mačak, they have tonight at 8 p.m. in Zagreb, stand-up in English about traveling and living abroad. There are 4 different comedians. On June 22nd, there's going to be a new material night for stand-up in English with experienced comics. Grey Cafe Bar has free stand-up open mic in English on Wednesdays. And Aquarius, on June 26th at 8 p.m., they have stand-up in English UK versus USA, 2 comedians, 1 of each. So that could probably be pretty funny. So the best place to find out about comedy events in Croatia is entrio.hr, entrio.hr, or Facebook. Facebook is where all the events in Croatia are posted, but entrio.hr is a really great place. So, hey Jeff. Oh, the Beatles crosswalk in St. John's Wood. I did that. When did I do that? I did that when I came here on a study abroad when I was in college in 2003. And it's a very dangerous crosswalk. I don't think it's a really great place to take a picture because people are driving like maniacs through there. I imagine it really upsets the locals. But yeah, I did that a long time ago. All right, so this next question comes from Zvonko on the 5 Question Friday forum. How do I research what my tax responsibilities are on a property I inherited from my late father? So what's important to understand about tax related to property, like outdated taxes, is taxes are associated with the OIB, like the tax ID number of the individual, not the property. They only get tied to the property when there is collection procedure, and then it can be tied to the property. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, because there's not a whole lot of, he says he inherited it. Does that mean he's still in the inheritance procedure? Does that mean it's already finalized and his name's on the property? It's not clear from the question. But when you have an inheritance procedure, like when you inherit property from a relative, parent, let's just say for the sake of this, you inherit their property as well as their debts. So you inherit both, although you can't inherit more debts than the value of the property and the assets. So if there were debts and he also inherited the property, then he would have inherited both of those things. Now, if you want to check and see what taxes are owed, if any, you can go to the tax office. Now, he said that the property was on Island Olib. So this would be the Zadar tax office. The tax office is called Porezna Uprava. So the link that we can provide you is we have the tax office addresses for all of the tax offices in Croatia. So if you would like that, if you're on YouTube, it's down below in the description. If you're on Instagram, send us a DM. Everybody else, drop a comment and we will get that over to you. Okay, so next, I want to say hi. Hi, Croatia on the spot. Hi, Branko. Hi, Perger. And Lori. Hi, welcome. So this next question comes from John on the 5 Question Friday forum. I'm planning to buy a used motorcycle within Croatia. I'd like to know what fees and tax I'll need to pay on it. So, you must pay registration and technical inspection as well as a road motor vehicle tax if it wasn't paid previously by the first owner. And sometimes that can be possible if you buy it within the same year that it had been purchased by the previous owner and then sold again. So the road motor vehicle tax would be approximately 66 euros in this case. So I have a few things that we can provide to you. We have how to buy a vehicle in Croatia, how to register a motor vehicle in Croatia, and the taxes on motorcycles in Croatia. That's actually a government link for the tax office. If you want any of that, contact us. We will get that over to you. Next question comes from Daniel. This was on a consulting session of ours. My grandfather returned to Croatia after many years of living abroad. Does this impact my eligibility for citizenship? This is a great question. I actually consulted with one of the lawyers that we collaborate with on this just to be absolutely sure about it, which you can't be absolutely sure. That's kind of the answer, because the law isn't clear. Croatian law can be clear in some ways, like crystal clear, like there's no way that you can possibly misinterpret it. And then in other ways, it's like, this is super vague, this does not make sense, and it really, when it's not clear, it means that it's up to the discretion of the person who's dealing with your procedure, unfortunately. So I'm going to read to you what it says in the law, and then I'm going to tell you how it can be interpreted. In the law it says, and this is for Article 11 in the Citizenship Act. I just want to clarify that. An immigrant and their descendants may acquire Croatian citizenship by naturalization, okay? And then it goes on to define what an immigrant is. An immigrant, referred to in paragraph 1 of this article, is a person who emigrated from the territory of the Republic of Croatia before October 8th, 1991, with the intention of living abroad permanently. Okay, so in the law, it says they needed to have the intention of living abroad permanently. So, given this, someone who returned after just a couple of years abroad, yeah, that could look like, okay, well, you didn't actually have the intent of moving abroad permanently. But if it's someone who returned after decades of living abroad, or maybe they're coming back for retirement, then it wouldn't look quite the same. They could still have had the intention of moving abroad permanently. So let me give you a most common real world example. So in most of the cases of people that we're helping get citizenship, it's someone whose ancestor, either parent, grandparent, great-grandparent, they left turn of the century, after World War II, during the 60s or 70s. That is the most common groups, all right? So in those cases, they left for very specific reasons, economic opportunities or communism, trying to keep their family safe, things like that. So they intended to kind of really move their families abroad permanently. But if your grandparent came back, in this case his grandfather came back after 20, 30, 40 years, yes, he intended to leave permanently, but now he's come back to Croatia after a long period of time. But if they left for a couple of years and then came back, they would not be considered a Croatian immigrant. And then, yes, it could impact your citizenship application. But in his, since it is a grandparent, I'm guessing that no, because if his grandparent is the closest ancestor he has that was born in Croatia, that means he went abroad, had a child, and then his child had a child. So he was definitely abroad for probably at least 30, 40 years and then returned back. So what can I give you? Of course, we have a guide on how to obtain Croatian citizenship by descent, which is incredibly detailed because we love detail at Expat in Croatia. And if you need help with your citizenship application, you can fill out the form at the bottom of the page. So if you would like that, contact us. We will get that to you. All right, is this our last question today? I think it might be. Yes, it is. All right, so this question, this is an anonymous question that came in on Instagram. I am an actor. While I'm in Croatia on family reunification, I'm hoping I can still be connected in with the acting community by still being able to act, but of course not being paid. Can I still act in a commercial or be in a photo shoot, for example, but have a clear document signed saying that I'm doing this on a volunteer basis and will not accept any payment in return? Yes, of course. Yes, of course. So when it comes to volunteering in Croatia, anybody can volunteer. It does not matter what kind of permit you're on, whether or not you have the right to work. Anybody, even a tourist, could volunteer in Croatia. There's no regulation of volunteering in the law except when you are trying to get residence based on volunteering. That is heavily regulated. Now, we do have a guide on how to do that, obtain residence based on volunteering. Of course, we can give that to you if you'd like it. But outside of that scenario, you are free to volunteer however you would like. Now, I do want to, she said she's here on family reunification. Family reunification with who? That's what I would wonder. Because if you have a family reunification with a Croatian, an EU citizen, or someone who has an EU blue card, or a permanent or long-term resident who's a third country national like moi, then you have the freedom to work, which means you could be a paid actor if you wanted to be. So food for thought. So yeah, we also, in addition to the residence guide for volunteers, we also have 4 guides on how to volunteer. We have how to volunteer in Split, Zagreb, Osijek, and Rijeka. So what we did is we identified really awesome nonprofit organizations in those different cities, and we kind of made a list and summarized them, and also kind of put in there like what kind of volunteering it is that they are looking for. So if you would like that, any of those, find us, comment, go to the description, send a carrier pigeon, all of the things, and we will send it over to you. So that's it for today. Ooh, wow, I went through those really quick. So again, for those of you who are not here when we first started today, we're going to have a really big announcement next Friday. Like, really big announcement next Friday. So if you are interested in big announcements and fun, super great things, then I suggest that you show up next Friday for 5 Question Friday, so that way you can hear about the big plan that we have. And, you know, it'd be nice to see you with this big thing that we want to announce next Friday. So that's about all the teas that you're going to get for right now. But we'll have more details next week. So I'm in London, I'm in Hyde Park, and I'm here for the weekend. And yeah, I've already walked 18.8 thousand steps, which means that I'm limping in my right foot. I'm coated in sweat. It was a beautiful day here. So that's it, guys. It was a super mega quick one today. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and it's sunny and beautiful wherever you are. So love you so much. Vidimo se. Ciao. Ooh, the wind is blowing us over. Bye-bye.